Averaged out over the last 16 years, every 6 cups of Puro Coffee consumed has saved 1 square metre of rainforest. That's threatened rainforest in coffee-producing countries, otherwise cut down without our support, rainforest that provides safe habitat to critically endangered species and newly discovered species, some named after us, rainforest that protects vital water sources, rainforest protected by rangers, and rainforest that plays a vital role in capturing carbon, thus helping to mitigate climate change. And it's all been made possible thanks to our relationship with World Land Trust and you, the coffee consumer. Sir David Attenborough was my own bridge as a child to the natural wonders of the world in the tropics. Perhaps serendipity that later I was to forge forward with Puro and align its mission with that of World Land Trust, a UK-based land conservation charity for whom Sir David is a patron. For over 16 years, hand in hand, World Land Trust and Puro have used 2% of all of Puro's coffee sales, not profit, to create rainforest reserves in the very countries that birth our coffee. Some might say honouring indigenous principles of giving back to the earth from which we take and protecting pockets of nature for 7 generations and more to come. And right now, Puro's rainforest reserves span almost 400 square kilometres in 11 coffee-producing countries, housing astonishing levels of biodiversity and protecting incredible numbers of endangered species. Some of my favourites, the red-shanked Duke of Vietnam, most colourful primate, whose reserve also carbon balance offsets much of the CO2 produced by Puro. In fact, 450 square metres offsets 1 tonne of CO2 emissions. Then there's the golden poison arrow frog of Colombia, most poisonous vertebrate in the world, and our reserve is the only protected habitat for it. And one of the smallest and rarest primates in the world, the cotton-top tamarin, known as the punk rock primate in tribute to its hairstyle. But as we give back to nature, we witness this beautiful reciprocity. Vital water sources in Honduras now protected, no longer polluted, and powerfully water outputs magically increased by more than 4 times, from 570 to 2,300 gallons per minute. Local coffee growing communities are now finally able to drink tap water. And then there's the discovery of new species, previously unknown to science, found within many of our reserves.
Tigia puroana is one of the rarest and most special orchids of this reserve. I was astonished when I discovered it. It's only found growing on these very few trees in the high paramo. It's amazing that it can survive freezing at night.
El Pristimantis puruscafium es conocido únicamente aquí de la reserva de Puro Coffee. La primera vez que observamos esta especie de rana, no sabíamos que era una especie nueva, ¿no? La hembra tiene un café vino más oscuro y también el macho tiene una mancha sobre la barbilla que recuerda a un grano de café.
Through World Land Trust's Keeper of the Wild programme, we also fund the salaries of a number of local Puro rainforest rangers to patrol and protect these reserves from logging and poaching, and to report on sightings and developments in numbers of endangered species. Across our reserves in Ecuador, woolly monkeys have apparently doubled in numbers and gone from terrified to tame around humans. There's now 14 pairs of nesting black and chestnut eagles, when before there were none, and similarly spectacled bears and mountain tapirs, which weren't seen for years now, are frequently sighted. Threatened and endangered species are responding really well to these safeguarded areas. Finally, from Puro's very own coffee farm in Honduras, we look to discover more than species. This is where we seek to find harmony between coffee growing and nature. In studies, morning birdsong has been linked to helping plants to grow stronger and healthier and produce better harvests. And in the world of coffee, birds also eat the larvae of the coffee borer beetle, an insect that negatively impacts coffee harvests. So we see an active need to encourage birds. Replanting native trees where the shade-loving coffee plant can happily grow beneath its canopy, planting trees that provide food for these birds, and land sparing, large pieces of land left wild, not tamed by agriculture, letting nature do her thing too. There's a harmonious balance that's restored when we work with nature and implement natural solutions to natural problems, and we're always excited to share our discoveries with the coffee growing community. This has been Puro's journey so far, our vision for a more optimistic future here on Earth. As for my own Earth optimism, perhaps these times remind us that we first need to lose something to rediscover its wonder. Our path of separation from and destruction of nature can now make way for conservation and reconnection with nature. And I'm hopeful that we're only just beginning to celebrate conscious consumerism, where we willingly give more for the products that value our natural world, and minimalist mindsets where we understand that less really is more. And it's shifts of these kind that give the space so desperately needed for Mother Earth to heal and rebalance once more. Thanks for listening.